Easy.
Connor requires 136.
But this leg could come quite easy for him.
Double eight.
Game
Brilliant.
shot in the third
Absolutely
leg.
brilliant from
Scutt.
Connor Scutt. To you, my friend.
$180.
Well, Connor Scutt's been finding a lot on the throw, and to land a blow, it was either going to be a big finish or a maximum.
100.
Colin Osborne's found the max. He may still need the big finish as well, but he is making inroads on the Connor Scutt throw. He is showing why he has won a week here before, why he has reached a PDC major final.
180.
The 180 cards get hoisted into the air for back-to-back visits for the Wizard.
100.
All of a sudden,
Colin requires
break
41.
opportunity for Osborne. 41 to lead this one. It's going to be 2 at tops. Only
Game
needs
shot
the
in
one.
fifth leg.
Osborne leads
Colin
3-2.
Osborne.
It's a break of throw. And all of a sudden, the favourite is under pressure.
Sixth leg. Colin to throw
And it's
first.
not because he's done anything wrong. It's because Colin Osborne went to that elite level.
Game on.
Put the foot on the gas. 11 dart leg. Back-to-back maxes.
Connor requires 4.
Osborne has asked the question. Has Scutt got the answers? Can he go to the side? Madhouse. And
Game.
Connor Scutt
Shot.
gets the job done.
And the match. Connor
The
Scutt.
favourite is off and running. A 4-3 victory over the Wizard. The average came down slightly in that deciding leg because of the missed darts at doubles. Still 95-24 and a 1-3-6 finish as the players walk off. There's the tail of the tape. 2 points for Connor Scutt. He is off and running. But coming up after the break, the heavyweight clash between Ashley Coleman and Fallon Sherrock.
Fallon requires 118.
We saw this go last night, a big moment.
Game
And
shot
it
in the
goes again
second
as
leg.
well.
Fallon
Fallon
Sherrock.
Sherrock pins the 118 for a 15 dart holder throw. An
Fallon
opportunity
requires
he cannot
40.
take. So Fallon for a 3-1 lead.
Game shot in the fourth
Pins
leg.
tops.
Fallon Sherrock.
The Queen of the Palace. Treble though. So this is a chance for Coleman. It's now a big chance.
177.
The perfect
Fallon
setup.
requires 144.
Unless Fallon can produce something special.
The only way you can describe that from Ashley Coleman is a
58.
touch of class.
Actually requires 24.
For a level game.
Game shot
And
in
it
the
is.
sixth flag. Ashley Coleman.
It's a 13 dart break back for Coleman.
Against the darts,
Fallon
Ashley
requires
Coleman
96.
not leaving a finish. Fallon Sherrock's got 6 darts here to cross the line.
Double eight to seal victory.
Game.
And that
Shot.
is sensational
And the
from the
match.
Queen of the
Fallon
Palace.
Sherrock.
Her dad claps along with a massive smile on his face. Fallon beats Ashley Coleman. Coleman had the better of the exchanges in Group B, but it is Fallon this evening, averaging 98.03, one maximum, 50% on the outer ring. The Queen of the Palace bags the points. Coming up after the break, we go back to Group 1 in a must-win for Colin Osborne.
Colin
I don't think any of
requires
those darts
16.
were where they were supposed to go. But we know where Colin Osborne's looking here. He's going to start at the double eight. He'll be hoping to finish on the double eight. Just takes an extra moment due to the extra context around this dart. Double two, one more chance.
Game shot in the
Hits
fourth
it
leg.
straight in the middle.
Colin Osborne.
He was signalling that was a long way away, but the beauty is he's got another go.
82. Colin
A sizable
requires
win.
40.
The Wizard stares down the target and
Game.
books his
Shot.
place in the semi-final.
And the match.
The
Colin
little fist pump there from Osborne says it all. He knew what he had to do, and he has done it. There it is. The man from Middlesbrough is the first name into the knockout stages here at the Modus Super Series this Saturday. There's the tail of the tape. 33% on the outer ring. But coming up after the break, Fallon Sherrock has the opportunity to join Osborne in the semi-finals.
Slip, a mistake from Fallon Sherrock. And a chance for Stuart Kellet on a combination finish to break the throw. He's going to get a dart. His first dart at a double in this game.
Fallon requires 8.
He's not able to convert, and Fallon Sherrock gets a second chance.
Game shot in the third leg. Fallon Sherrock.
Don't want to be giving Fallon second chances when she's in this mood. Fallon 109. Treble 19. Would have left double 16, but Kellet will return.
57. Stuart requires 20.
Great guide. And
Game
uses
shot
it,
in the
level
sixth
game.
leg.
We are
Stuart
going
Kellet.
all the way. KO Kellet. Finds
Game
it.
shot.
Stuart
And a
Kellet
match.
comes from
Stuart
3-0
Kellet.
down to beat Fallon Sherrock 4-3. There's the KO fan club. He is right in the mix. Sherrock missed a couple of match starts en route, but Group 2 is now finally poised. Fallon Sherrock has played both of her games, can do no more. The last game between Kellet and Coleman, it will all be on the line, but we go back to Group 1 for Gert de Vos against Connor Scutt to stamp his place in the final four.
Game shot in the second leg.
Minimal fuss.
Connor Scutt.
Connor Scutt is through.
Connor requires 38. Game shot and the
Job
match.
done.
Connor Scutt.
Don't apologise, Connor. You've done your job. It's a 4-0 whitewash. Hop Gert de Vos. Connor Scutt tops Group 1 and he will throw first in the semi-final. The bookies' favourites safely through as they have a little debrief at the table. There's the tail of the tape. Very one-sided as he serves the whitewash, but all eyes now on Group 2 because the potential of a 9-dart shootout is there. All three players still in contention.
Game shot in the fourth leg.
Big last
Ashley
start.
Coleman.
Bottle there from Ashley Coleman.
5. $73. Stuart requires 40.
That was a chance for Coleman to break, and the way Stuart Kellett's playing on the 100 average, that might be all he gets.
Has to come right across because the way
30.
the dart was kicked right
Ashley
across.
requires 32.
Yeah, they were 3 edgy darts, those. Kellett's
Game
been good
shot
in
in the
this
fifth
game,
leg.
but misses it
Ashley
at the most
Coleman.
important moment. Ashley Coleman, the match.
100. Game.
Ashley Coleman
Shot.
books his place
match.
in the
Ashley
semi-final.
Coleman.
The Prince of Darkness weathered the storm. KO Kellet had him on the ropes, but a blitz from Coleman books his place in the semi-finals. He ends up topping Group 2 on leg difference. Fallon Sherrock finished runners-up. What a game between the pair. There is the tail of the tape, a high-quality contest. But after the break, Matt and Chris are going to dissect all the action from the group stages.
You're not so clinical on that occasion from Connor Scutt.
26. Connor requires 16.
Double 8. Great marker. And
Game
uses
shot on
it.
the third
Connor
leg.
Scutt
Connor
is on
Scutt.
the verge.
Fallon
Now within
requires
range.
4.
Madhouse for Fallon. It's a good guide if she uses it and doesn't.
2.
So Connor Scutt,
Connor requires 90.
90 for a place in the final. Double 15. And
Game.
Connor Scutt
Shot.
books his place
And the match.
in the
Connor
final. It's a
Scutt.
4-0 victory over Fallon Sherrock. The favourite for the title is now a game away. The early part of this exchange, he was sensational. The average dropped considerably. There were some missed starts at double, but the early stages, Connor Scutt sent a real statement out. After the break, the second semi-final, Ashley Coleman against Colin Osborne. This could be a
Ashley
little
requires
pop finish if he
100.
gets it right. The recovery
Game shot
was
in the
brilliant.
first leg.
The
Ashley
first
Coleman.
dart straight into the fives.
Colin Osborne was well and truly within striking range, but this is what I'm talking about with Ashley Coleman. When he gets in this flow, when he gets the rhythm going. Absolutely brilliant. He's a player that is evolving, a player that is developing. And at quite a rapid pace.
180.
Hang on a minute.
He's evolving. He's won a group here now at the Super Series. He's got his own little moment of history there. Is he about to get an even bigger one?
100.
With a
Ashley
141 for the 9-darter
141.
on finals night on his very first time here.
We were both on the edge of our seats there, Matt.
23.
The most important thing, though, is this is coming on the Colin Osborne throw. Osborne not doing too much wrong. He's kept himself in touching distance. Despite the back-to-back maximums here from Ashley Coleman, he's going to be forced to take out a big finish.
Ashley requires 118. $80. Colin requires
Remember, he went
8.
6 into the 9 and may lose the leg. Osborne has really dug in here.
Game shot on the
Fabulous from
second
the wizard.
leg. Colin Osborne.
Didn't get...
A little bit of experience by Osborne, not rushing to the hockey. This time something, a noise in the back, just distracting him. And again, won't throw when he's not set. Make sure that everything is how he wants it to be.
This is my turn at the hockey, and I will do it my way, he says.
Game shot on the third leg.
Don't you notice
Colin
as well that
Osborne.
sort of shot as before
Ashley
he needs a treble for
requires
double?
88.
It's going to be a dart at the ball to save his skin.
63.
A well-thrown dart, but it might be the last dart he gets to
Colin
throw here
requires
on the
40.
Super Series stage on this occasion.
Osborne for a place in the final. Looking at tops. And he's
Game
done
shot.
it. Colin
And the
Osborne
match.
has
Colin
booked his place
Osborne.
in the final. Beats Ashley Coleman 4-1 and sets up a dance date with Connor Scutt. An intriguing game. Osborne dominated the stage, dominated the pace, and runs out a 4-1 winner. There's the tail of the tape. Not much between them. 1 from 5 from Coleman on the outer ring ultimately was his undoing. But coming up after the break, we will have Matt and Chris dissecting the semi-finals.
Double 17. 2 trebles. And the double 12.
132.
Couldn't quite repeat the magic.
Connor requires
It grazes the wire, but Scutt to break
Game shot
straight
on the
back, and it
second
is
leg.
1-all.
Connor Scutt.
Another big blow in this game. They are trading haymakers right now.
40.
Broke with a 13 darter
Game shot on
in
the
leg
fourth
2.
leg.
And he breaks
Connor
with a
Scutt.
13 darter again. He loses his darts and hits back with a 13. Great resilience here.
Fifth
Connor
leg.
Scutt.
Connor to throw first. Game
Right
on.
now, he
Connor Scutt should get a dart. He chooses tops.
Game shot on the fifth
body
leg.
blow from Connor
Connor
Scutt.
Scutt. Colin requires 20.
No
Game
problems
shot on
there
the
for Colin
sixth
Osborne.
leg. Colin
We
Osborne.
go to a decider. We go to one leg. The preparations begin. Connor Scutt is a dart
60.
away.
Connor requires 28.
And he's done
Game
it. It's in.
shot.
And he's in.
And the Motor
Connor
Super
Scutt
Series
is through
Series
to
8,
Champions Week.
Week 8 champion.
He has said,
Connor Scutt!
He has said in the past that he has struggled here at the Super Series, but there are no struggles here this week. It's been a dominant display for Connor Scutt, who breaks the voodoo of the Super Series. We have had many people win Group A and not go on to win the week. Connor Scutt, the first player in some time to do that. A 4-3 success over Colin Osborne for the second time this evening. He kicked off his evening with a 4-3 victory over Colin Osborne before a dominant couple of displays. 4-0 over Gert de Vos, 4-0 in the semi-final over Fallon Sherrock, and he was made to work for it there. The numbers, the averages, tell you absolutely everything. A very evenly matched game. 4 breaks a throw early on. Colin Osborne missing 3 darts for the break to go 3-2 up, and then Connor Scutt showing a touch of class. The 3-180s, possibly the part that got him over the line. And we're going to hear from our champion now with Phil Bars.
Connor, congratulations. You came here as the favourite. You're going home with the title. What are the emotions like right now?
Ridiculous. I thought after Colin broke my first leg, I was dead and buried. Colin seemed to be finding 2 trebles every visit. I think I was very lucky to be starting a couple of legs with a 180. It would have been nice to do a 171 afterwards, but I didn't have the bottle. Sorry, guys. But it's one of those things that I'm very, very happy to get the win. I left double 14 on purpose because it's a straight line. And I thought if I can just... I was straight for most of the match. I thought if I left the double that's sort of straight down the line, I might get lucky and just nick it.
You touched on trying to deliver a night, and me and Matt spoke about it in commentary, that it was business. It wasn't the flamboyant Connor Scutt that we've seen. It was all about the win this evening.
No, I mean, if you look at a lot of the week, there was no flamboyance. I mean, naturally, I'm not a very flamboyant player anyway. It's only when I'm on a stream that I do try and go the 180, 171 free balls, because no one's going to forget it. Like, if you go that way for a 9-darter, no one's going to forget it anytime soon. That's why I try and do that sort of thing. But if you look at, like, even when I was down here last time, I'd never go for 3 balls just out of nowhere for like a 15-dart leg or something. I'd never do that. You've always got to be you've always got to try and give yourself a chance to win it, and that's why a lot of the night tonight, if I started with a 180, I was trying to follow it with a 2 treble visit, and then I might have, if I hit the 2 trebles after the 180, I would have thought about whether going for another 60 or a 51, and then I can do the 150. But it's all about how I feel in that particular game.
You beat Colin in the group stages. Was that on your mind at all as you were walking up for the final?
Yeah, it was far too close in the group stages. I mean, Colin broke me in 12 in the group stages, and I was expecting him to do much of the same there, to be completely honest. I think Colin was a lot stronger tonight than what he played there, in my opinion. I mean, he broke me fairly early, broke the first leg. I think, how many breaks was there in that? 3? 4. So it just shows how close that game was, all in all. And it all just comes down to the doubles at the end of it, which in the Super Series, a lot of it comes down to the scoring. Who gets down to the double first normally pins it. But in this game, it was all about who pinged the double.
You are now going to Champions Week as well, where you will compete for the grand prize of £25,000. You said you wanted this, and Champions Week was on your mind before a dart was even thrown. How does that feel that you're going to go up against the best now?
It feels nice. I mean, I've won a few things before coming into this, so it was very nice to get a Super Series under my belt. Even if it's not the Champions Week, even if it's just this week, I'm very, very happy to get another little sort of title under my belt, if that makes sense. It's nice. I'm in a good place at the minute.
You've won plenty of titles this year. What does this one mean to you?
It means an awful lot because there's an awful lot of quality in the week, and I'm very, very glad that my little bit of punditry at the beginning of the week worked out. Ricardo Ham did play a lot better at the end of the week, even if he was a little bit nervy in Group C. But I was happy for Colin. Colin, at the end of Wednesday, after he found out I was through, he said, "You'll see me Saturday no matter what. You'll see me Saturday. You'll see me Saturday." So I was winding him up saying, "Oh, are you going to be chalking? Are you going to be marking?" And he was like, No, you'll see me Saturday to play." And I was happy with Colin getting to the final. He done extremely well.
Well, Connor, congratulations. Now's the time to get your hands on the trophy. Ladies and gentlemen, your Series 8, Week 8 champion, Connor Scutt.
Yeah, well, Matthew Edgar's alongside me looking at this, and Matt, all week you've been saying that will be the moment we'll be talking about, and there it is, Connor Scutt lifting the trophy.
It's an image I expected to see this week. It's an image he's probably visualised. He's a thinker. He's someone who sort of visualises his own success. He would have seen this in his mind. He came here quietly confident. He didn't want to come in here boisterous and tell us all what he was going to do. much to my dismay. I think I'd have liked to have seen a little bit of that. But he came in here quietly confident, believing in his own ability. He is a quality dart player, a quality operator who we're not going to see here for long at the Super Series. So enjoy these moments we get Connor Scutt.
Yeah, shaking hands with everybody as he makes his way out of the arena there as well. Connor Scutt, it's a moment that he deserves to enjoy because before this week, it hadn't gone his way here.
Absolutely not, and he was so aware of that as well. He talked very fondly about how he's always struggled here at the Super Series. No struggles here. He's dominated. He's won Group A, he's won the week. I said at the end of that game there that we don't see that very often, and we haven't seen it for a long time. That is the ultimate domination of a week for me, when you win Group A and then you go on to win the week. That's when you know you've done it the hard way, and Connor Scutt has done that here. He was the favourite tonight. We said 7-4 seemed a bit big, and right now when you look at that, it seems like a massive price that I don't think you're going to get that again, even on Champions Week.
There is a few signatures for the audience in the arena here. But I tell you what, Colin Osborne gave him a good fight, didn't he, in that final?
He probably will feel he should have had him, because twice he broke the throw, and he also had those 3 darts to break it again and be a leg away from the match with a 3-2 lead. So I think Colin Osborne's probably going to leave here not happy that he made the final, but disappointed that he didn't win that game. And I think in reflection, he'll be happy eventually when he gets his payment for runner-up. I'm sure that's when he'll start smiling again.
But that moment as well, the 1-4-4, he would have been 2-0 up had that gone in. So Scutt would have really been up against it then.
He's had moments, didn't he? He really did have moments there, but that's all it is. Small in these sort of formats, short format games, you're going to get these little snippets, and it's who takes them. And ultimately, Connor Scutt bounced back really well. 2 13 darters when Colin Osborne hit him. He just hit back hard, and that's a sign of quality.
Think back to Monday, we spoke to him on Monday morning, and then I sat with you and you spoke about the fact that maybe he could just be a bit more outwardly confident. Has this week started to see him display a little bit more of that?
I don't think you ever will. I don't think that's him. I don't think that's his personality. And I think, and the worry for me with that is I think some people may see that as a sign of weakness. And certainly when you're out on that PDC tour and you're full of characters and boisterous personalities and the best of the best, sometimes you've got to have that body language about you, that aura about you. And that might be just the thing that's missing at the moment for Connor Scutt. And I think that's what he's going to develop this year. Coming away from the tour, going on the various tours where he's hoovering up titles and he's going to need a trophy room rather than a shelf. I think that is what he's going to learn, how to develop a little bit of aura.
Speaking of the best, he's through to Champions Week, Connor Scutt. You've been saying not only do you think he'll win this week, but you think he'll win Champions Week. You can see the lineup so far there. Is he the standout name on that list?
We've looked at this list for the past couple of weeks that I've been down here at the Super Series, and every time it's come up, I've been asked, who do you think's gonna win it? I now have my answer. It's Connor Scutt. He's the standout name. I mean, Jimmy Van Skee's doing some good stuff. Neil Duff, very successful in this arena, but I was looking for that player with the X factor, and Connor Scutt has it.
Yeah, and he's exhibited that this week. We've seen what he's done tonight, but earlier in the week as well, that performance when he had the average north of 120 shows how good that he can be.
Shows what he's got in there as well, doesn't it? Sometimes you're going to need that. And on Champions Week, I'm pretty sure you're going to need it somewhere at some point. The players now know he's got it. He knows he's got it. He knows how to win on that stage. So many positives for Connor Scutt. I could literally just sit here and reel them off, but I've been doing that all week. So I just feel that he'll feel vindicated right now in everything that he's done and said up to this point.
It is his night, of course, but it's not just about him. Who else leaves this week with plenty to build on?
Ashley Coleman. Absolutely Ashley Coleman. I think when I saw his name on here and with some of the players in here, I didn't think he'd get to the semi-final. I'll be honest with that, on the evidence of what we've seen before. But on the evidence of what we've seen here this week, I can't wait to see him here again, because I think we're watching a developing player here. He'll learn a lot from tonight, how he went out and how he played on the stage, how he felt on the stage. He's an exciting prospect I'm really looking forward to, and I'm really going to be keeping a close eye on the development.
And how much is the Super Series helping players like Ashley Coleman and indeed Connor Scutt in lifting that trophy in their future progression?
The answer is in the Q School qualifiers. We have had it for the past couple of years. The players you see here at the Super Series doing well, you don't see them the year after. because they always get the tour card when they go to Q School. I think that's going to be the same thing this year. Our really high-performing players like Connor Scutt, players like Andy Bolton, players like Jimmy Van Ski, we probably won't have them next year, and we'll be looking for the next wave of players. We had Luke Littler here just last year. He's now the Premier League champion. It really is a good stepping stone in development, and I like to think this is a good bridge between where the professional game is and sort of where the amateur game is. It's a great bridge to get the best of the best in one room and one arena.
Well, thanks for your company tonight and this week. You were right again, I have to say. Well done. But we hope to see you next week here at the Super Series. The action continues. Week 9 begins on Monday, 9:30 a.m. it starts. All live here on the Modus Super Series YouTube channel. Tonight belonged to Connor Scutt, but there's another week of darts waiting for you around the corner.
Difference. Double 16. Steve Vine makes it a moot point.
Mitchell 161. And taken superbly.
This could mean. Oh, and he finds the ball.